In this video, I'll be showing you the basic steps of doing a Stamp and Cut project. Stamp and Cut is fussy cutting a stamped image with your Gazelle, which is a great alternative to fussy cutting your stamped image the traditional way with scissors or an X-Acto knife. This technique involves scanning your rubber stamp. Before scanning your rubber stamp, please check with your particular stamp's manufacturer about the terms of their angel policy, copyright restrictions, and/or their end user agreement. To begin your Stamp and Cut project, choose your rubber stamp and stamp it onto a nice bright white paper using a nice crisp black ink. Once you've stamped your image, place it into your scanner and open your Funtime software. Once you're in Funtime, you'll need a blank 8.5 by 11 document and go up to your File menu and select the Scan option. When you click on Scan, Funtime will open your scanner's software, and your window will look differently depending on which scanner you have. I'm using an Epson scanner. When your scanner software opens, the basic settings you want are you want to scan as a color document and you want the resolution to be 300 dpi. Scan your image like usual. This will take just a moment for the scanner to warm up and scan your image. Once the scanner has scanned the image, Funtime will import it directly onto your Funtime document. Now, as you see, my image has been imported right into Funtime and my scanner software has closed. The first thing I'm going to do is crop this image. As you can see by the selection handles, the scanner scanned the entire piece of paper, not just the image. To crop this image, I'll go to my image menu, select crop and rectangle. Next, I'll just simply drag a selection around my image and release the mouse. Drag the cropped image away, select the original image and press delete on the keyboard, and then select the image I want to keep and bring it back down onto my Funtime page. Now that my image is on the page, I'm going to zoom into the image and click away from it to deselect. On the color palette window, turn off the fill color and select a stroke color that will be easy to see when it's printed, and change the stroke width to 0.006. Select the contour wand and click next to the image to create cut lines. If you get something crazy like that, just click in a different area. And use the sliders to adjust the lines closer to the image if needed. Now I also want to cut out these little open areas between the wings, so I'm going to add paths for each of those. When all of the cut lines are created, close the contour cut window. At this point, I recommend that you select your cut lines and simplify the paths and do any editing that might be needed. I'm not going to do the editing in this video just to save time, but there are other videos for editing that will explain those steps if you need those explanations. At this point, I need to add crop marks to my page by going to the File menu and selecting crop marks. And I'm going to select the crop marks and bring them down closer to my image. You want to be careful to not put the crop marks too close. If they're too close, all of your lines won't be cut. That's part of the print and cut process. We're not doing a print and cut though, we're doing a stamp and cut. We only scanned the image to create the cut lines. We're going to print this, but I don't want the JPEG to print. So I'm going to select the JPEG itself, and I know the JPEG is selected. If I drag it away, I can see that it's the image that's selected, not the cut lines. And to prevent these from printing, I will turn off the print permission. To do this, go to your View menu and select Toolbars. Scroll down the list near the bottom and place a check mark next to Register. When you place the check mark next to Register, right up in this area, you'll see that registration toolbar appear. Click on OK to close that window. With the image still selected, click on the bottom icon to turn off print permission. I know print permission is turned off because this little printer icon with the red X appears. And if I go to my File menu and select Print Preview, I can see exactly what's going to print, and the scanned image is not appearing. I know it's not going to print. Once all of these steps are completed, I recommend that you drag a selection around all of the elements of your design and click on the padlock to lock those items. Once those items are locked, they cannot be selected in any way, they cannot be edited, they cannot be moved. They are permanently in that position. At any time needed, you can unlock that feature to be able to move them or edit them. But for now, I want to leave it locked. At this point, you can go to your File menu and Save As. Choose the location where you want to save your file, give it a descriptive name, and click on Save. Once all of these steps are completed, we need to print our template, which is what the steps we're doing now. We are creating our template for Stamp&Kut. To do that, go up to the top of the window, click on the printer icon, use the drop down arrow to select the printer that you're going to print with. Click on Properties and make sure that you select Photo or Better Quality. Double check the paper type and the paper size and click on the OK button. My printer is set up to give me a print preview. Yours may not be set up that way. If it isn't, don't worry about it. While this document is being printed on my printer, I'm going to move the camera, and when I come back, I'll show you what to do with your template. Be right back. And I'm back. I've gotten my template out of the printer, and this is what the printed template looks like. And you'll notice that the stamped image is not printed, only the cut lines and the crop marks are printed. To get the template ready for use, you're going to need a piece of a piece of fun foam or a similar soft material and a sharp piercing tool. If you don't have a piercing tool, you can use a sewing needle. And I want to show you these crop marks a little bit closer if I can. In the corner of the crop mark, right here, I don't know if it's going to show in the video, but there's a little bitty circle with a crosshair in the center of it. And there are three of these on the template. What you're going to do is place the crop mark of the template on your fun foam or similar material, and with your piercing tool, very precisely aim at the center of the crosshair and pierce it through. And you're going to repeat this on each of the other two crop marks. Try to be as accurate as you can in this step. It's crucial for lining up the cut lines to your stamped image. Now that each of the three crop marks are pierced, I'm going to set my template and the fun foam aside for a moment, and I need to stamp my image that I want to cut out. Now this has already got some ink on it because I've been practicing, but I'm going to ink it up a little bit more. I want that ink nice and fresh. You can you can ink your stamp, you can color it with markers, whatever it is you like to use on your rubber stamp, it's up to you. Get it nice and juicy. You want a nice clean image. Oops, I kind of messed that up a little bit, but it's alright, it won't hurt anything. You can see I got a little bit of ink right over here, but we're going to cut this out so it won't hurt anything. And I don't want to smear my ink, so I'm just going to dry it a little bit with my embossing tool. That's just to keep the ink from smearing. I'm trying to hurry with this. Now you may have noticed I've got this on a light box. I'll show you why. Once your image is stamped, get your template and lay your template down on your stamped image. And I'm using the light box so that I can see the stamped image and the printed cut lines. And what you need to do at this point is, as precisely as you can, line up the cut lines to the stamped image. If you don't have a light box, you can use a brightly lit window or a patio door. Get that lined up as best as you can. And when you've got it lined up, hold it in place. And you're going to need a fine tip black marker. I'm using a Zig Millennium marker. If you don't have a Zig, whatever pen you do have will work. Remember, we pierced holes in these crop marks. What you do is you take your pen and line it up to the pierced hole and mark through that hole so that the ink appears on the bottom layer of paper. And do that on each of those three crop marks. Once you've done that, you can remove your template. Now this template is reusable. You can use it again and again and again, unless it becomes damaged or you lose it or the kids make a paper airplane out of it. Set it aside and save it for future use. If anything happens to this template that you've printed, you can always open your document in FunTime and print another one. Now this is the sheet that we'll actually be cutting. And the three dots that we've created here, here, and here are going to act as our crop marks. We're going to put this in the Gazelle on the cutting mat, align the laser to these three dots, and the Gazelle will fussy cut this for us perfectly. Give me just a moment to move the camera again and get this put into the Gazelle. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my camera moved and I've got my stamped image on my cutting mat in my Gazelle, and I just want to point to a couple of things for you here. Um, Here you can see one of the three black dots that'll be used as a crop mark. Here's the second, and here's the other. When I line up my laser, I'll first align to the first mark, then to the second mark, then to this third mark, and the Gazelle will cut my stamped image out. Notice right up in here you can see my laser is already turned on. I've already adjusted my speed and my force. Right now my red light is still on, so I can feed my cutting mat into the machine. And I'm starting the laser below and to the right of the first crop mark. Turning off the red light so that the cutter will accept commands from the software. And you're not going to see my software, but I have my FunTime open, and I'm going to use the buttons in the software to align my laser mark. You'll probably hear these click marks. Let me move this out of the way so you can watch the Gazelle. Now, using only the buttons in my software, I am going to align the laser to the crop mark. I'm real close to that first mark now, so I'm going to switch into high precision, making my plotter and my cutting mat move in smaller increments. I don't think that that dot on the paper is going to be visible in the video, but what you will notice is that when I align to the dot, the laser dot becomes smaller. I've got that one aligned real good. Now I just need to fine tune a little bit to get the laser to the second mark. That one's right on. Go to the next one. That one is so close. There we go. And now I'm going to click on my Cut Project button, and the Gazelle will cut around my stamped image. Okay, I turn on my red light and feed the mat out of the machine. Now normally I would feed this out all the way, but I want to keep it in front of the camera, so I'm only going to feed it out to here, and I'm just going to use a rotary cutter to cut the paper. That way I don't have to feed it out all the way in the video. I can keep it right here for you. Now I'm just going to carefully lift away this negative piece. Looks like I need a new rotary blade. Lift this carefully. I did this on just a thin copy paper. I didn't do it on cardstock. This one little inner piece here, it didn't come off with my negative when I removed it, but it is cut. It'll just stay stuck to the mat when I lift my image. There we go. Any of that little interior cut just stayed right there. Now how's that for fussy cut? That little cutie is ready to put on a card or as an embellishment on a layout. However you want to use it, it's ready, and you can see just how accurately my stamped image is cut. Oh, let me get over here where you can see it better. See how accurate that is? I love this process. Now, you may be wondering how you would cut this image if, say, for example, it had been stamped on a smaller piece of paper like this is, rather than being stamped on a full letter size piece of paper. Give me just a moment to move the camera and I will show you how you can accurately cut out a stamped image like this that's been stamped on a scrap of paper just as easily and just as accurately as this one was cut from a full sheet of paper. Take me just a moment to move the camera. Be right back. So now you're wondering how you can stamp and cut an image that you've stamped on scraps of paper like this or cardstock just as easily and accurately as this one was cut from a full sheet of paper. And that's what I'm going to show you real quick. To do this, you need to work directly on your cutting mat. And you're going to need the template that you made earlier, and you'll need another template. This template is simply a piece of paper that I have cut an opening in just a little bit bigger than my scrap of paper that I stamped on, and you can use this quite easily. All you need to do is put this template that you cut a hole in onto the sticky mat and then place your scrap paper with the stamped image inside of that opening. I'm going to turn the light box on and you'll follow the steps exactly as we did before. You'll place your template over the stamped image and line up the cut lines to the stamped image, and then use your marker and mark your marks directly on the paper below. Remember, we pierced holes in there. Now when you lift your template away, turn the light off so you can see it. It might be kind of hard to see. Try to get it up here. Now there are 3 marks on the paper just like before. Here, here, and here. And now you just feed this cutting mat into the cutter and align to these 3 marks just like we did earlier in the video when I cut out this piece. The only difference is in the first part of the video I stamped my image on a full sheet of paper and then cut it out. And for the smaller scrap that I stamped on, I cut an opening in a full-size sheet of paper that'll fit my scrap paper, place them both on the cutting mat, and then use the template, line it up with the light box turned on or up against a window, and place the pin through these holes that were pierced in the crop marks. When you put this into the Gazelle and align to the crop marks and cut it, it will cut just as accurately as this one did. That's it for this video. As always, happy crafting and check back soon for new videos. Have a great day.